make you feel? Like, does it bring some memories to you, or you are just a baby? He was coronated in 1994.
It brings some memories, not because I was alive when he was being coronated, but
you were just an
I was
idea.
Not. I was not. If I was alive, I would be 30.
Okay.
I was not. 1994, I wasn't. But of course, during his first 10 years of leadership, I was alive. So maybe if at all I was a Munyoro, I would have experienced the first 10 years of his reign, if I'm to put it in that way. But nonetheless, again, if I was a Munyoro on such a day, 30 days, 30-year anniversary, I would definitely be excited. And if I was within the kingdom premises or the districts, Hoima, I would definitely be there, ready to represent my fellow Banyoro who are not in the country, and also sing praise to the king at that time.
Oh, we sing praise to the king even today, and we say, Hangiriza agutamba omukama. Good morning, Chirabo Robert.
Good morning to you and of course the entire team, but more so to our viewers. Thank you so much for waking up with us. Now, when you talk about 30 years of Omukama reigning on his throne, it is something that we must be proud of as a country.
Yes.
Because we must understand that there is unity in diversity. And our cultural institutions are one of the things that the NRM government has cherished and has pushed for. Because we cannot forget the bad history when we once never had, or when kingdoms were abolished. Now we are talking about 30 years for the Omukama of Bunyoro. All we can say is Angriza or Gutamba to the Omukama, long live, and may Bunyoro grow stronger and stronger every day.
Indeed, indeed. Well, good morning, Chantal.
Good morning, Olive. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Well, I'm really well. Just happy for the Banyoro and for this milestone, 30 years on the throne. And I believe the Banyoro today is a day to celebrate. And we're here to say Hangiriza Omukama Agutamba of Banyoro.
Indeed, indeed. Well, it is a beautiful day, and in the spirit of beautiful things, maybe not very beautiful as of this morning, Uganda had a game yesterday. Jerome Paul, I believe you were there. How was Nambole? How was the situation around there? And of course, we ended up conceding, right?
We conceded twice, though at the start things did look like we were going to win or emerge victorious. But again, one of the things that I was able to observe is the unity that the Ugandans had yesterday to support their team. And of course, when you look at the entire day of the celebrations before the game, the treatment, and the fact that we also had the First Lady in presence yesterday at the Nelson Mandela National Stadium. We also had the Deputy Speaker to Parliament, Right Honorable Thomas Taebwa, who are the chief viewers, if I'm to put it in that way. But the result wasn't what we were expecting to receive. But well, the element of seeing many Ugandans return to the stadium, because it was fully packed, clearly shows you that Uganda's sports sector can pick a leaf from that. And you know, it's a way for us to know that it's a huge kind of foundation that was laid yesterday. And it clearly gives us a future trajectory that in the coming years or coming months, when we have matches, many Ugandans will definitely flood the stadium.
Well, it was sad that we conceded twice, given that Algeria had never won a game, at least on our home soil.
Also, something
they had never beat us.
Also, something I've not mentioned, by the way, is that yesterday I was viewing the match with 5 viewers of Good Morning Uganda.
Oh, interesting.
So I was trying to access the media tribunal. That was in the evening at around 6 when the players were warming up, and 5 gentlemen saw me. They were able to identify me, and they called me, and they had a reserved seat, and they told me we watch the entire team every morning. And they did say that it is something now they are used to. Back in the time, they would just wake up at 8. But these days, they watch us from the time we start till the time we end. And there were 5 gentlemen. I remember them so well. I did share some contacts with one of the 2, so with 2 of the 5 rather. But it's something that I also realized that we have, you know, we met different people in such areas, if I'm to say.
Well, it's beautiful, and to the 5 gentlemen, we send our greetings. Thank you for waking up with us every single morning. Now you can tell your brothers, sisters, girlfriends, uncles, auntie to watch Good Morning Uganda every single morning, because this is where we have the hard topics and hot conversations regarding the issues that are grappling the country, or the country is grappling with. And speaking of the issues that the country is grappling with, there was a directive given by the president on corruption in his State of the Nation address. And we have been seeing some allegations and articles online indicating that some government officials were summoned regarding the corruption allegations. But then police has dismissed these claims and says they haven't summoned any other person or any government official on corruption. Chantal, have you been following this story?
Yes, indeed we have, and police also came out, that is the spokesperson Fred Enanga came out and said, we do not know anything about summoning any government officials on this very same issue. And now that leaves us, that leaves us in a state where we do not know who exactly is telling the truth. But it seems the MPs were shaken by the fact that the president is now getting, is starting to tighten up on some of those issues, and I think it's a very good direction for us as a country.
Well, indeed. And speaking of good directions, now we get into the local news, and Shiraba Robert will be taking us through the first story.
Well, you just hinted something regarding corruption.
Yes.
And I want to begin with that story this morning. Now, during the State of the Nation address by the president on Thursday last week, he revealed knowledge of corruption racket in the members of parliament. Now, officials from the Ministry of Finance and accounting officers from various ministries, this sparked reactions from members of parliament, with some admitting the existence of corruption scandals, while others labeled it as blackmail and emphasized operating in a transparent manner. Nakaseke member of parliament Rutamaguzi Semakula acknowledged the existence of corruption in parliament and called for swift action from the president to arrest the culprits, stating that corruption has penetrated not only parliament but the entire country. On the other hand, Toro member of parliament Geoffrey Ekanya emphasized that parliamentarians follow their procedural rules while passing the budget and are not responsible for increasing budgets. As alleged, he suggested that the government should revise its methods of facilitating MPs instead of depositing huge sums of money into their bank accounts. Ekanya, one of the MPs who have not signed the motion to impeach the 4 backbencher commissioners, clarified that funds amounting to 1.4 billion were passed by MPs. Meanwhile, the movers and seconders of the censure motion reported that they have collected 145 signatures. However, they expressed concern over some representatives who have not yet signed the motion. Theodore Sechkubo, MP for Remi Yaga, released a partial list of MPs who have signed and emphasized that withdrawal of signatures is not permitted by law.
And moving on, the Uganda police has distanced itself from circulating information concerning the summoning of government officials over corruption allegations. Police spokesperson Fred Enanga says these are social media rumors that do not represent the police institution. Following the State of the Nation address by the President, the public was excited by the President's directive to the Police Directorate of Criminal Investigations to investigate some government officials, especially legislators and accounting officers, over corruption in budgetary rackets. Information has been circulating that the Police Criminal Investigations Directorate summoned government officials from the Ministry of Finance and the Office of the Prime Minister, some legislators and some officers from the Office of the Speaker. The Uganda Police has disowned this information, saying there is no such operation by its investigation arm. Police have highlighted the different methods under which a suspect can be summoned in the formal procedure for statement recording. Throughout the day, the premises of the Police Directorate of Criminal Investigations were out of bounds to non-staff with heightened security. Even the media was locked outside. Some contacted ministries and government agencies. Some contacted ministries and government agencies have denied information about the summoning of their officials, while others have confirmed that officials were invited for questioning but preferred anonymity.
Still regarding police, there was a press briefing yesterday where police came out and warned people circulating videos of criminals. Security came out to warn the public against spreading these videos. Police confirmed that there have been no incident of flying kicks over the last 2 weeks. Those videos being spread are non-authentic. Some are old and others are from different countries like Ghana, said Enanga, the police spokesperson. While police have given an update on the implementation of the presidential directive on sub-county policing, upon accessing the success of sub-county policing in Greater Masaka, police will seek more resources to expand the system to other policing regions. In Kampala Metropolitan policing operations, police apprehended 2 suspects, Kiseka Bahati and Bugaya Edwin, for mobile money robbery in Webaja. It is alleged that these 2 attacked Mbadiremu Mariam, a mobile money dealer, and robbed her of 2.5 million shillings. In Insingiro district, a son stabbed his father to death during a quarrel. The father, by name Mugisha Patrick from Katamba village, is said to have been killed by his own son, Asimwe David.
Now, in other news, the Omukama of Bunyoro, Dr. Solomon Gafabsa Iguru, yesterday attended the 30th Empango, which is also known as Coronation Commemoration Church service after missing the same prayers last year. Accompanied by the Omugo, Margaret Karunga Adieri, his Prime Minister Andrew Byakutaga, and members of the royal family, the Omukama arrived at St. Peter's Cathedral in Hoima City. Omukama has so far missed 4 consecutive Empango celebrations due to ill health. His last performance of Empango rituals was in 2019. Empango rituals are performed every June 11th, the day he was enthroned. Iguru first performed these rituals on June 11, 1994, when he ascended the throne, and since then it has been an annual event. During the church service, the kingdom premier, delivering a speech on behalf of the kingdom, urged subjects to work hard to improve their household incomes and restore the kingdom's glory. He also highlighted achievements attained by the current administration during Iguru's 30 years reign. Bishop Samuel Kahuma Abwali of Bunyoro Chitara Diocese, who presided over the Thanksgiving service, urged the people of Bunyoro to love and support their kingdom. Bishop Kahuma thanked the government for the improved infrastructure, including paved roads and airport, and one of the proposed stadiums that will host AFCON in 2027. The chairperson of the Royal Commission, Dr. Fred Kabagambe Kalisa, who also serves as a senior presidential advisor on oil and gas and minerals, called for unity, emphasizing that there is no development that can take place when the people are divided. The RDC, Chikube Amlan Tumsime, and the Communications Office of the National Drug Authority, Fred Kabuye, congratulated the Omukama for his achievements and steering the kingdom in the right direction. Well, with that, we end our local news, but we have more in international news with Chantal Olive.
Now, the UN Security Council backs the U.S.-Israeli-Gaza ceasefire plan, and the Council has voted to support a U.S. proposed Israel-Gaza ceasefire plan and this proposal sets out conditions for a full and complete ceasefire, the release of hostages held by Hamas, the return of dead hostages, remains, and exchange of Palestinian prisoners. 14 of the 15 Security Council members voted in favor of the U.S. drafted resolution. Russia abstained. The resolution states that Israel has accepted the ceasefire proposal and urges Hamas to agree to it too. It means the Security Council joins a number of governments as well as the G7 group of the world's richest nations in backing the three-part plan that was unveiled by President Joe Biden on 31st May. The vote is likely to increase pressure on both sides to respond positively to the plan with a view to ending the conflict. It also came shortly after U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with foreign leaders, including Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, in an attempt to build support for the peace deal. Just hours before the UN vote, Mr. Blinken said his message to leaders on the region was, if you want a ceasefire, press Hamas to say yes. Away from that, Apple is to boost its Siri voice assistant and operating system with OpenAI's ChatGPT as it seeks to catch up in the AI race. The iPhone maker announces the Siri makeover along with a number of other new features at its annual developers show on Monday. It is part of a new personalized AI system called Apple Intelligence that aims to offer users a way to navigate Apple devices more easily. Updates to its iPhone and Mac operating systems will allow access to ChatGPT through a partnership with a developer, OpenAI. ChatGPT can also be used to boost other tools, including text and content generation. The test version will become available in the autumn. Tim Cook, Apple chief executive, said the move would bring his company's products to new heights as he opened the worldwide Developers Conference at the tech giant's headquarters in California. The announcement was not welcomed by all. Elon Musk, the owner of Tesla and Twitter, also known as X, threatened to ban iPhones from his companies due to data insecurity. Apple has no clue what's actually going on once they hand your data over to OpenAI, Mr. Musk said on X. They are selling you down the river. Apple has faced pressure to introduce new AI features to its products after the rapid rise of rivals who have adopted the technology. And in other news, an aircraft carrying Malawi's Vice President Chilima and 9 others has gone missing, a statement from the president's office said. The Malawi Defense Force aircraft went off the radar after it left the capital Lilongwe on Monday morning, it added. The plane was supposed to land at Mzuzu International Airport at the country's north just after 10 local time. Also, that makes it 9 British summertime. In a speech late on Monday, President Lazarus Chakwera said a search and rescue operation was continuing. Soldiers are still on the ground carrying out the search, and I have given strict orders that the operation should continue until the plane is found, he said, adding that it was a heartbreaking situation. I know that we are all frightened and concerned. I too am concerned, but I want to assure you that I am sparing no available resource to find the plane, and I am holding on to every fiber of hope that we will find survivors. Mr. Chakwera earlier cancelled his flight to the Bahamas, which was scheduled for Monday evening. And with that, we get to the end of our international stories.
Well, it is sad indeed what is coming in from Malawi. Just last month, Iran lost their president, Mr. Raisi, still in a plane crash. And now we have this on our African soil. One can only hope that the plane is found and that the vice president is alive, though that's very unlikely. But we will keep you posted with the updates regarding this story. Now, Jerome Paul takes us through the dailies.
Last week, when the president was addressing the country on his State of the Nation address, he did mention that he has been hearing rumors and hearsay of what is happening within the Ministry of Finance and some members of Parliament who are corrupt. And today's New Vision is putting it out there with why 3 members of Parliament were arrested. Then more legislators and finance officials to be quizzed. Find the details. 3 of those members of parliament who are arrested at the front page of today's New Vision. Then also the countdown to the national budget. 2 days to the national budget reading for the financial year 2024-2025. How the cake affair will be settled at the Bride and Groom Expo. Then there is also a special team pull-out inside today's New Vision, as Uganda Revenue Authority faces uphill task in raising 31.9 trillion Ugandan shillings in the upcoming financial year 2024-2025. Also, Omukama Empango celebration. Find details of what is happening in Bunyoro as the celebrations for the 30th coronation anniversary have already kicked off in Bunyoro. Now, the Daily Monitor. Members of Parliament detained over corruption racket, says the Daily Monitor. Bunyoro East County, Butaleja District Member of Parliament Yusuf Motombuli, Honorable Sise Namuju Diomizia, District Woman Member of Parliament of Renga, she belongs to the NRM party. Then Honorable Paul Akamba, Busiki County, that is in Namutumba District. He's also part of the NRM party as well. All the 3, by the way. Now, police probe students' death over A-level subject choice. There is also that case of suicide that is being investigated by the police. Then analysis, who is who in Mpuga camp ahead of Thanksgiving. Also, small crowds at rallies in Besige's appeal fading, according to the Daily Monitor. Then in the Rainbow Magazine, read about Chibuka, Kayunga's football captain. Then we now cross the borders to Kenya, the Daily Nation. Where is Uhuru's 1.1 billion Kenyan shillings funding? It's the big question on today's Daily Monitor front page. Raw as State House has denied. Daily Nation. Raw as State House has denied allegations by Kenyatta's office. Then the JSS tutors sacked 2 days after calling off strike. Then there is a tragedy. Party war of words, then cruel death. Sad story of teenager Beth Wambui. Read about her in today's Daily Nation. Then inside ADC's 500 shillings per acre land lease scam. And also a report from the courts. Kamata Fridays, still on as court throws out petition by lawyers lobby. That aside, lastly, the Citizen newspaper from Tanzania, how mortgage interest rates can be made more affordable. Find details. Then what establishment of local ICT lab means for the people of Tanzania. Then Tanzania secures 60 acres in DR Congo for setting up a dry inland port. Then national family planning experts speak out on new birth control method for the men in Tanzania. That is it from what we do have in our press review this morning.
Well, thank you, Jerome Paul. Now we'll take a breather and we'll leave you with Mose Radio featuring Weasel and Caesarman, and the song is Connect. And when we come back, we'll have a conversation regarding augmenting the malaria fight in the country. How best can we do that? That's a question we will be answering and would like for you to join us.
Live from UPC
celebrating 30 years of coronation, 30 years as King of Bunyoro. How does that make you feel? Like, does it bring some memories to you, or you are just a baby? He was coronated in 1994.
It brings some memories, not because I was alive when he was being coronated, but
You were just
no,
an idea.
I was not. If I was alive, I would be 30. I
Okay.
was not. 1994, I wasn't. But of course, during his first 10 years of leadership, I was alive. So maybe if at all I was a Munyoro, I would have experienced the first 10 years of his reign.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
Junko.
Yo.
Wachikuwa. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Uganda wange. Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Junko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. But what you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
The World Health Organization says that the global funding for malaria control is insufficient all across the world. And when we come back here to Uganda, the fight against malaria takes about 27% of our national budget. Now, in 2020, HIV and the fight against STDs took most of the health budget. But over the last 2 years, malaria has been taking more of our national budget in the health part, and this has been aimed towards fighting malaria. Now, today, we still have malaria as the most killer disease in Uganda. Lots of effort have been put towards fighting malaria over the years, and government has put in place programs that have enabled us to go from a very high number where we're losing many people, and the numbers have been reduced incredibly, but still we are struggling. And according to Uganda's malaria cases and deaths report, it has been said that deaths have actually surged, and it is estimated that 12.7 million cases and over 17,556 deaths annually are resulting in the annual economic loss of over $500 million in Uganda. This is concerning. So, first of all, let's look at the efforts that the government has over the years put in place to fight against malaria, but also what is missing. Why is it that even after a lot of money and effort has been put towards the fight against malaria, we are still struggling as a country? It is still the #1 killer in our country. This discussion I'm having with Robert Chirabonyonyintono, Chantal Oliver Kaninda, and Jerome Paul Sonko, and my name is Olive Monica Najuma. Now, starting with you, Robert, before we look at what is failing currently, let's look at where we started from. I know that for a long time, malaria was a killer disease in this country, and then many efforts were put in place, and we will name some of these efforts. So what has been done in the past before we get to what's not working out right now?
Well, first, we must understand that in the past, there was so much sensitization about malaria. Because you find that as much as malaria is the #1 killer of Ugandans, or one of the top killing diseases of Ugandans, but to a certain level, Ugandans have not taken this serious. Much as government has had a couple of efforts. Why am I saying so? About 4 decades or 3 decades back, you'll find that people are aware of malaria and would do what it took to prevent the spread of malaria. Now, we all know that the common spreader of malaria is female Anopheles mosquito gambier. Now, what this mosquito is the one that must bite you. You get those pathogens, then you get malaria. Now, the decades I'm talking about, they were focusing more on prevention of malaria. Today we are focusing more on treatment. Treatment. But previously, the focus was on prevention.
Yes.
That is why previously, even LC systems, government's approach, sensitization levels were slash bushes, close your windows very early, don't have stagnant water. If you have stagnant water in your area and there's nothing to do, at least people would apply oil, they would go and pour this oil or pour paraffin, something, so that these breeding centers of these mosquitoes are destroyed. Now, the moment we moved away from that approach, of course, this has an impact that we got better treatment. Because today in government hospitals, one of the common drugs are malaria drugs. The only problem is that some people in the rural areas take long to go to health facilities. By the time they go there, the malaria, there is so much impact in their body, and sometimes they'll need advanced treatment which is not available, and they die.
Yes.
But previously, because they know that when you get malaria, your chances of survival are very few. So what do? Prevent yourself from getting malaria. So we moved away from prevention. Now we are going into treatment. That's why you hear politicians say, bring more medicine. Are you aware that currently at the Uganda Virus Institute, we are using gene drive technology as a country to develop genetically modified mosquitoes?
Okay.
Now,
what's the essence for these
these
genetically
mosquitoes
modified mosquitoes?
are going to be helping in preventing, because they're going to be either, I was speaking to one of the scientists and she said that either they're coming up with a mosquito that will be laying fewer eggs, and majority of these are going to be male. Because now, the male Anopheles mosquito does not spread malaria.
Yes.
It is a particular mosquito common in Uganda that is called
Female.
the Gambier, Anopheles gambier mosquito. So if you reduce the population of these mosquitoes, and those that are in the surrounding are male, most of them, so they won't spread malaria. And they will be, and over a time, because they will be mating with other mosquitoes, you reduce the number of mosquitoes. But this is all prevention. Government goes to giving nets prevention, and we are moving, and now we are saying, for us, how best can we, when a person gets malaria, how best do we push for treatment, which I think may not be that very much a breakthrough than when we prevent.
Okay, so in your opinion, prevention is better than cure?
Yes.
The focus should be on prevention.
On prevention.
But now,
That's
okay.
why you see today are being given mosquito nets, and they take them for fishing, protecting chicken from disturbing their gardens. The prevention issue is not what they're looking at.
Okay, now coming to you, Chantal, when we hear that people are using mosquito nets for fishing, and yet Chirabo says that prevention is better than cure. These people that are using the nets are going to end up sick at some point. So what gap do you think we are missing here? What gap has been left behind that now, instead of preventing, we are actually exposing ourselves to malaria?
Someone is going to sit and not worry about what hasn't come to them, and worry about what has already happened, and that is the hunger in their household. When you look at the people that are using these mosquito nets for fishing, these are people that are, one, near the landing sites, who are looking for, one, food to eat, but also some fish to sell, for them to be able to make a livelihood for themselves and their families. So for as long as they have not seen the malaria reach them, then they will not, they will now think about what has already reached them, which is the hunger and the desire to take kids to school, the desire to look after their families. And that would be where there is a problem. Much as that kind of mindset is wrong, people seem not to understand the magnitude of malaria and the effect it would have on our country in general if we fail to end the spread of malaria, as per the plan that was put in place that goes up to, I think it is up to 2025 for now, the one that I have seen. But it goes back down to how much information do people know. Are you aware that in those areas, people will think about the disease when it has already affected them? Also, because they feel like it's treatable, can you treat hunger?
But
Probably
Chantal,
not.
is it mostly because they're hungry, or that they are looking for school fees for their children, or it is because probably the information and sensitization given to them is wanting? Because even before they were given the mosquito nets, they were still fishing. So is the problem really hunger, or it is lack of enough information regarding why they are given the mosquito nets?
It's more like saying that if I'm using one camera today to film or to record or to air Good Morning Uganda, if you added me another camera, I would not take it. You get it? Because I'll need different angles. So, I mean, if someone already, yes, they've been fishing before, but if they are getting new nets that they can use to even fish maybe a little more efficiently according to them, then definitely they're going to use. We cannot dispute, and I mentioned this, that the information they have does not allow them to make the decision on whether to look after their health or go ahead and use the nets for fishing. Someone will think about, if I can treat the malaria, then let me first feed my family.
And then also,
John Paul, I was actually coming to you. Do you agree with Chantal's sentiments? Because I'm finding a challenge here when I think about the fact that one person says that they are using the mosquito nets because they are trying to fight hunger, and then someone else is like, maybe it is beyond the hunger. Maybe there is a bigger gap that has been not covered by whoever is giving them the mosquito nets. Do you agree with her sentiments?
I will only agree with her on a point of, let's say, some of the people who end up using these nets for fishing, it's because someone looks at it as an opportunity or as a mechanism to get what to eat. And that is an argument that you can't rule out. And on the element of sensitization, I would definitely say there's enough sensitization. It may not be, okay, it's not enough, there is sensitization. I won't say enough, I would say there is sensitization. Why? Because government over the years has been rolling out treated mosquito nets to health centers. Now the question would go back to, do they give out enough treated mosquito nets? Because when you see, if someone goes, what happens when they are giving out these mosquito nets is that they give out to a household. For example, if a mother goes to the health center and they are going for, let's say, malaria treatment, or they are going for any other sickness treatment, what happens is they will give them these mosquito nets. And at times they give you not only one, but they can give you, according to the number of family members you have.
Yes.
They can give you close to 5. Now, of course, when they're giving you this, Because what I do know, most of these health experts or some of the doctors that we have employed there normally sensitize these Ugandans on how to use these mosquito nets. And some of them are advised to use these nets immediately after they've got them wrapped out. And then others end up washing these mosquito nets. But of course, when you wash, you get to realize that at times that is not the problem. But the problem is not putting or sleeping under the mosquito net. So on the sensitization issue, I think the government is doing some sensitization. It may not be enough sensitization, but there is no way they are going to give you a mosquito net without sensitizing you. But now the element is where, or what I could actually call the challenge is when we look at the preventable measures in regards to the sensitization, this is where we fall short. Now, Chirabo mentioned back in the time, we would talk about clearing the bushes. We would talk about ensuring that our drainage systems around our households or neighborhoods are well maintained. Now, today, it is very different. Society is changing, whereby people care less about their neighborhoods. And remember, these are breeding spots of these mosquitoes. And if you do not encourage Ugandans to start having measures or having preventive measures, then we are likely to have these Ugandans going into hospital to cure these diseases. And mind you, when you look at the budget that we have, not only in Uganda, globally,
yes,
it is very short. It falls short when it comes to malaria or dealing with malaria globally. And if it's a global situation or cause, you do realize for us as a country that depend on donor money or donor funding, it becomes even worse. So that means the preventive measures really need to be, the preventive kind of language needs to be pushed further amongst the Ugandans. Because at the end of the day, there are those who will deliberately use the mosquito nets, for example, in, let's say, fishing areas to fish. Others will have these mosquito nets and they will just keep them at home. Because at times it gives them pleasure seeing something new within the wardrobe. And then
goes back down to mindset.
So we need to do further sensitization that if you have the mosquito nets, make sure that you sleep under the mosquito nets. But then also, there are other measures that you can use and employ. I've seen some families in urban settings here, those who can afford, who have even mosquito repellents. They have mosquito repellents, but they also sleep under mosquito nets, which means some people actually go further than even prevent, but make sure that they are preventing to the dot. So if we go to other underprivileged families or societies within the country, we need to ensure that they do the slashing of the bushes, they work on the drainage system, the water around the areas or the catchment areas, and then we now focus on making sure that they sleep under the mosquito nets.
Olive.
Okay, yes, Chantal.
6 out of the poorest districts in the country are from the north.
Yes.
And when you look at different reports, you realize that those districts, some of those districts are the districts that were reported highly for using these mosquito nets for fishing. And it takes me back down to this person's mentality towards using a mosquito net for sleeping. Meanwhile, before the mosquito net came, were they falling sick? How often were they falling sick? I'm giving you from the perspective of how this person thinks. And the first thought that comes to their mind is, what good is it going to do for me to sleep in a mosquito net, yet I can treat the malaria, and then I don't have what to feed my family tomorrow, or I cannot take my kids to school, and all they're looking for is I need to go fishing to be able to fend for my family. And that goes back down to this person's mindset, and I think that is where we still have a problem.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, actually. I see your argument. Now, with that put in mind, Chirabo, do you think that maybe Ugandans do not take malaria very seriously? I'll give you an example. In most cases, when Ugandans who live in the diaspora come home, they will have repellents, they will have those ones they spray on their body if they've come with babies, and then they will even take anti-malarials. And in most cases, before leaving the other country, and in most cases when they come here with their repellents and whatnot, you see that people look at them funny of why are you going to this this extra mile? So with that being said, and with Chantal, what Chantal has said, that people know I will get sick and I will treat. So do you think that maybe Ugandans are not taking malaria as seriously as they should?
We must understand that managing success is a problem.
Yes.
There was a time where acquiring malaria was more like a death sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Now, government over the years, through various programs, malaria control programs, through our donor partners, there's been a lot of investment. It may not be directly by government, but these good relations with the donor partners. So we have so many programs on malaria. And now this has led to a viability of medicine.
Yes.
Today, our government, away from the science I talked about, according to Ministry of Health, one of the officials said that by October, we may even go into vaccinating children against malaria. Now, when someone is vaccinated, we all know that their immune system is boosted towards that disease. Even when they acquire the disease, because vaccination does not stop you from acquiring any disease, but your body is able to fight it off.
That's true.
Now, when you have all these breakthroughs on table for Ugandans, these statistics are very alarming. But you find that they only surface when we choose to talk about them, or when there is the budget is coming,
or when there is a report being
or when
presented.
there's a report coming.
Yes.
Today, how many of us, if they tell that your workmate is down with malaria, that will shrink and fear that
they might die?
That they might die. Because
Thank
they'll
you,
tell
Chirabo.
So, apart from the challenge we still have in the rural areas,
Yes.
rural areas, where even then there, because I don't know of a government facility, you're going to go in with malaria in an early stage and you don't find malaria drugs. The only challenge we find there is that these people go late. They first try the oil herbs here, there. Muruluza. So by the time they go to health facilities, it is fairly late. And it is in advanced stages. That is why we see this loss of lives. So whenever there is treatment, I'll just dip into HIV/AIDS today. The fear where people would shrink and look so,
and become bony.
And everyone was like, protect yourself, AIDS skills.
Yes.
When government made these different technologies and veiled treatment, today we have people even cracking jokes. You know, HIV/AIDS is just like a fever. You can get treatment. So these are the challenges. Managing success brings people to get relaxed, they get complacent, yet many are dying.
Many are dying indeed. So we are having a conversation regarding how best we can augment the fight against malaria. If you didn't know, malaria is still the #1 killer of people in Uganda. With the COVID-19, many people thought that we lost so many people in a year, but actually that's not true. We still lost more people during COVID-19 to malaria than to COVID. So malaria remains a #1 killer, and people seemingly don't take it serious. And this is what is concerning, because when you look at what the World Health Organization says, it says that malaria budgets all across the world are really minimal. Now, coming back to Uganda, the health sector, the people in the health sector are asking the government to actually increase the budget in fighting against malaria. But before the budget is increased, maybe as government looks into its coffers to see how much money will be given to the malaria fight in the next financial budget, what best can we do? How best can we augment the fight? Because the fight against malaria is not the government's responsibility. It is yours and mine, Chirabo, Robert, and Chantal, and Sonko, and yourself and people you live with. How best can we do this? And I have some feedback coming through. Teacher Alfred Opoya says the government needs to carry out subsequent sensitization to the community to curb the misuse of mosquito nets. I think this is very prevalent in every region, be it in urban centers or in hard-to-reach areas. This is a big problem. Now, Cricket Derek Gagamel from Makindye, Luafu. Hi, Derek, it's been a minute. He says, good morning, team. I think the fight against malaria starts with individuals each. I mean, we develop the I don't care attitude. We can't clean up the environment. Everyone thinks it's not their role. People don't sleep under nets, and those who get them freely use them for other purposes, and even some sell them. Lastly, most people opt for treatment when they are totally down, yet prevention is better than cure. So all those are our individual weaknesses in fighting against malaria. We need to take serious action, starting from individuals, households, societies, and to the country at large. This is from Cricket Derek Gagamel, and I think he's reiterating the views that have been shared by Chirabo and even other members on the team. So with that being said, I'd like to get your parting shots, Sonko. What do you think the government needs to do going forward in terms of treatment? Because prevention is also there, but now treatment is very expensive. Recently, I was treating malaria and I was so shocked at how expensive it is. But like Shraba said, sometimes we go late. So how best can the government help us?
Before the government, I think we the individuals need to step up. Because when you look at some of the relatives I have in Europe normally tell me that when someone faces a cold, they treat it immediately. And here in Uganda, if you slightly get flu, you feel like you can live with it and it will go. So I think even our mindset towards certain sicknesses puts us at risk. So when we get ill, we really need to work along with government or with the different health centers. But the most important thing is for us individuals to prevent. Then on the side of the government, I think further sensitization on the preventive measures, because really that is going to be the first thing we can do. Not only to work on the treatment bit of it or put out the medicine in health facilities, but we also need to put ourselves in a situation of prevention. Because with this donor funding, now just imagine if we reach a moment, God forbid, where we run short of malaria treatment drugs, then you can easily imagine where we would be as a country or where we can be as a country. So I think further sensitization on the preventive measures, especially in community, not even in poorer communities, because even in urban centers you will be shocked that many people do not know how to prevent malaria or aren't doing the right things to prevent the spread of malaria.
Chantal, briefly, your parting shots.
Well, the government of Uganda put in place the Uganda National Malaria Control Policy, and among the things that were to be done or are being done is prompt diagnosis, effective treatment at all levels of the healthcare system, including community. Then we also have integrated vector management, including the use of long-lasting insecticidal nets, indoor residual spraying, and other methods that could be used. Now, government has tried to do its part. As Ugandans, let's try to also do our part. If the mosquito nets are provided, let's use them for what they are used for. And if you can't afford the mosquito net, use it. All right. Basic science, clear the bushes around, no stagnant water, basic science.
All right, basic science. Robert, your parting shots.
Well, I call upon government to empower the village health teams because these are very effective if well supported. They stay within these communities. Many of them have basic information, and they'll be able to do so much as far as sensitizing and sounding the drum that this is a danger, so that we stop being complacent and joking around when it comes to malaria.
Sounding the drum, that's what I take away from this. We all need to be responsible. Let's be clean. We are a clean society. So let's be clean, clear the catchment areas, the stagnant water around our homes, clear the bushes, because these are some of the preventive measures. And I will reiterate that prevention is better than cure. The other thing you need to know is that it is highly expensive lately to treat malaria if it has gone out of order. So you need to keep that in mind. But Good Morning Uganda does continue. We have Good Morning Uganda Tourism Express coming your way next. And later on, Jerome Paul will be giving us the Good Morning Uganda business, and we'll have traffic updates, and still the show goes on. My name is Olive.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
Junko.
Yo.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Uganda wange, haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Junko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief, and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government, designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Welcome to today's episode. In this informative video, we will be discussing the essential tips that can greatly contribute to maintaining healthy kidneys. So let's dive in. Tip number 1, stay hydrated. Drinking an adequate amount of water is essential for kidney function. It helps flush out toxins and waste products from the body. Aim for at least 8 glasses of water a day to keep your kidneys hydrated and functioning optimally. Tip number 2, eat a balanced diet. Include fruits, vegetables, and whole grains in your meals. Avoid excessive salt and processed foods that can put strain on your kidneys. A healthy diet will provide essential nutrients and support kidney health. Limit the intake of processed foods, salt, and added sugars. Tip number 3, control blood pressure. High blood pressure can damage the kidneys over time. Monitor and manage your blood pressure through a healthy lifestyle, including a low-sodium diet, regular exercise, and stress management. Tip number 4, maintain a healthy weight. Being overweight or obese can increase the risk of kidney disease. Adopting a healthy diet and regular exercise can help maintain a healthy weight. Tip number 5, monitor blood sugar. High blood sugar levels can damage the kidneys. If you have diabetes, manage your blood sugar levels through medication, a balanced diet, and regular exercise. Tip number 6, quit smoking. Smoking narrows blood vessels and reduces blood flow to the kidneys, leading to kidney damage. Kick the habit for better kidney health. Tip number 7, limit alcohol consumption. Moderation is key. Excessive alcohol consumption can strain the kidneys and contribute to kidney damage. Limit your alcohol intake to protect their long-term function. Tip number 8, limit your salt intake. Too much salt can raise your blood pressure and strain your kidneys. Opt for low-sodium alternatives whenever possible. Tip number 9, limit over-the-counter painkillers. Overuse of non-prescription pain relievers, such as NSAIDs, can harm the kidneys. Use these medications with caution and follow the recommended dosage. Consult your doctor for safer alternatives. Tip number 10, regular health checkups. Schedule regular checkups with your healthcare provider. Monitoring blood pressure, blood sugar levels, and kidney function through routine tests is important for early detection of potential issue. By following these 10 essential tips, you can take control of your kidney health and prevent future complications. Thanks for watching this video. If you found it helpful, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more valuable information on maintaining a healthy lifestyle. This program is produced by Sani Production, powered by UBC TV, inspiring Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Kampala is one of these beautiful cities where you're going to spend a day or 2 days, probably a month, and you never get tired of exploring the very many beautiful things that reside in Kampala. From the tasty food, beautiful people that speak very good English, smiling faces, delicious food, and very many culture and heritage sites that you can visit. And well, today we are at Gaddafi Mosque, the iconic mosque in Uganda, the largest mosque that we have in Uganda. It is the second largest in Africa, just after the Moroccan mosque in Morocco. And today there is a lot that is awaiting for us to explore inside the mosque. The interior is so amazing that I can't wait to enter inside. But again, this is one place that I feel has been somehow underrated. Despite its beauty, despite its a view, the scenery that it has, the history, it has been somehow underrated. And because of that reason, today we decided to come and take you through this mosque. At the expressway, we're going to go inside and see what is really inside, what is taking place on, what takes place on this site, what really happens here. I know you're really excited. You've been to this place. I'm going to commend you or challenge you to find time and come and visit this place after showing you around. Let's roll. And here at the mosque, I find one of the tourist guides at this place, and let him introduce himself. So, what's your name?
My name is Jesh Yusuf.
Nice having you here.
Nice having you
What
too
do you
here.
do basically here at the mosque?
I act as a guide here at the Uganda National Mosque. And of course, I'm ready to take you around inside the mosque. You see how it looks like. You take the pictures from there.
For how long have you been here?
I've been here for 1 year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Great. Let's roll inside and see what is going to take place.
Okay.
Come join us.
So we're going to place our shoes just on the stairs, and we'll enter inside. Take care. Right, welcome. Yeah. So this is how the interior part of Gaddafi National Mosque looks like, and I will start by explaining the architecture of the mosque. Yeah, there are the chandeliers that hold lights. Actually, they were imported from Egypt. They are metallic made, if you look at them. And it's the ancient of Egyptians. And then the carves like flowers on the top of the roof. They were carved by Moroccans, people from Morocco. And we Muslims, we like flowers because we believe that paradise will be like flowers. And if you look around, you will see the Arabic writings. On the corners, there are 99 names of God that are printed in the boxes. So we believe that God has 99 names. And then the wood, it's mahogany from Democratic Republic of Congo. And then the glasses, they were imported from Italy. If you have heard of Milano from Italy, that's where the glasses came from. And the carpet, it was from Turkey. Yeah.
Okay. So those are brought from all the continents of the world?
All the continents of the world, and it's the mixture of the cultures, the European culture, the African culture, and also the Arabian culture.
Why did you decide, okay, if you know, why did you decide to bring these things from the different continents of the world?
One of the reasons why we decided to have different things from different world, it's to show that it's a way of brotherhood. Muslims, we like having all the magnificent colors and the architecture from different cultures.
To show unity.
To show unity, togetherness.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the carpet that you've been having, you guys, from the start of the mosque?
Yeah.
From the time it was started?
Yeah. No, that is the old carpet. Actually, it is from the entrance there. It's the first carpet which was installed in this mosque, and this one, it's the second carpet.
Where was the first carpet gotten from?
The first carpet, it was from Libya. Yeah, and the second one, it is from Turkey.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so then I think for now I can show you the sections in the mosque, like the section for the women pray from upstairs.
Okay.
And for the men, they use this section where we are. So the section for the men, it's somehow bigger than that of women, reason being that most of the men access the mosque, being that they come to the community to do businesses, and most of the times these mosques are located within the community. And most of the times, women stay at home looking after their children, and they can easily pray from home. And then when we proceed just in front of the mosque, there are other two sections which are special for the imam. Actually, on the right side, there is a pulpit, and the pulpit, it's where the imam stands when he's preaching. It's called a pulpit, and that's where the imam stands when he's preaching. He stands on that microphone for 30 minutes. And when he gets tired, before the 30 minutes, he sits on that big chair to take a rest, and then he stands up again for the last 15 minutes. Then the small chair, it's for the person who helps him in sign language, for those people who don't speak and those who don't listen. So when he finishes preaching there, he comes out of that wood cover, and he comes out of the sacred door, and then he stands in front of the mimbari, the sacred door, where he comes out, and then he stands in front of the mimbari to lead the prayer. And we Muslims, the rest of the Muslims, stand in lines facing Mecca direction, where we believe that that's where the first worshipping house was built, Kaaba, and we organize ourselves waiting for the imam to lead us in the prayers. Yeah.
Right now, I am standing right in front of the pulpit where the imam stands or sits when he's leading a sermon, a congregation of Muslims that come in to congregate from this place. It is a very beautiful place, just like you've seen Yusuf taking us through. The place has brought together different continents. Right now, I feel that I can say that I've been to different continents of the world. I've seen things from Asia, I've seen things from Turkey, I've seen things from Congo. Like when you come in here, you feel that so many different cultures are brought together. And this signifies the togetherness and unity among the Muslims. And one thing that I can testify is that, you know, every time you find one Muslim, you be sure you're going to find another one, a third one, and a fourth one, because they work together. There is that aspect of togetherness among the Muslims. So I feel the National Mosque, Gaddafi Mosque, is one of those beautiful places that you really shouldn't miss out. Most of the Ugandans, you people, take tourism slightly. and you pass by this mosque almost every day. This is where you pass every day, but you've never taken time off to come and explore this beautiful place and see. Interior is amazing. You've seen the carpets, my friend. When I'm stepping on this carpet, I feel it is like I'm massaging my feet. The carpet is so comfortable. It is so smooth. But everything, the ambience in here, it really shows that probably Allah resides in this place. Well, I cannot explain everything that is in this place unless you come and experience the beauty that lies here. With all that you've heard and seen at Gaddafi Mosque, I'm pretty sure that you know that this place is open for tourism. Just like you see behind me is the tourism office, the tourism information office. That actually just shows you that it is open for tourism. So even if you're not a Muslim, but you'd want to know more about the Muslim community in Uganda, the place is so open for you. For adults and Ugandans, it is only 10,000 Ugandan shillings, and children, it is only 5,000 Ugandan shillings. So you are welcome at any point of the day to come in and explore what is here. Well, I am Irene Ale Namisango, and this is the GMU Tourism Express on UBC. Coming up is the GMU Business Update with Joram Paul Sonko. See you tomorrow.
Well, the Gaddafi Mosque is one of the great contributors to religious tourism in Uganda. You can add that to the Namugongo Matters Shrine in Namugongo. That is from the Uganda Matters Museum, the Catholic Basilica. And now when you also add the Gaddafi Mosque, very iconic within Kampala. So if at all you happen to come to Kampala, it is one of those centers that you can easily go and visit. And maybe in the long run, you're also contributing greatly to Uganda's tourism industry. Away from the GMU Tourism Express with Allen Namisango, it's now time for us to speak business this time round. Well, counterfeits within the country have raised a huge concern for the players within the country, especially the traders. Now, this time around, investors within Namamve are also very concerned and worried about the competition that is being brought to them or to their goods that they are producing. And these particular goods or this competition is being created by goods that are fake. And they have cited the element of counterfeit competition. Now, the proprietors of industries in Namamve Industrial Park have informed the Trade Ministry that the unchecked rise of counterfeits on the market has made the competition quite unbearable and unfair, which makes them lose out on the customers on the market. Please do note that most of the counterfeit products come at a cheaper price than the original product, which means it is ruling out those who are selling genuine products. Now, the industry players say that the rise of counterfeit products in the market is undermining their sales and threatening their sustainability. The 2,200-acre Namamve Industrial Park directly employs at least 30,000 Ugandans in sectors like agro-processing, logistics and freight, plus medical supplies, among others. And the Trade Ministry inspected Roofings Limited, founded in 1994 and Uganda's largest steel manufacturer to date. Now, officials from the ministry conducted a thorough assessment of the facility, its production processes, safety measures and environmental compliance. The inspection also included a visit to East African Medical Vitals Africa's first surgical and medical gloves manufacturing industry, to assess its adherence to regulatory standards. It was launched by President Museveni in 2021, and the company is at the forefront of addressing Africa's insufficient capacity to manufacture and supply essential drugs and personal protective equipment. Now, besides that, statistics also show that Africa imports more than 80% of its pharmaceutical and medical consumables, notably 100% of its surgical and medical gloves. The Ministry of Trade plans to continue these inspections across other industries in the country, and at the same time also there are more efforts by the Uganda National Bureau of Standards to ensure that the standards of goods on the market, not only within the manufacturing sector, but also other goods that are being sold in the Ugandan market, meet the quality standards of the international markets. Why? Because these are the standards for one who is going to consume a good, or for you to fully benefit from the good that you're consuming. Because as a customer, you're paying for a good and the service, and that means the kind of good that you're paying for should be original, because at times these fake products or the counterfeit products on the market also have some health implications, especially if at all you misuse them, or especially those that are consumable. Even those that are not that are not edible, but are being used, let's say clothes or other products that are fake, at times they have some health implications that are attached to cancers here and there. So that is why you get to realize that it's quite important for us as a country to push for original and authentic products in every sector. And besides that, also for the other players within Uganda's economy, they would definitely love to have fair competition with genuine and authentic products, because like I did mention, you do realize that fake products or non-authentic products are at times cheaper than the original ones. So also as a client or as a consumer, you always have to be very critical when it comes to the goods that you are buying or that you are consuming at the end of the day. Now, lastly, we turn our focus to the agricultural sector, because more developments coming in from the sector reveal that a parliamentary report indicated that nearly R1 trillion shillings that was borrowed for various agricultural projects within the country remained unutilized, which clearly shows that there is a lot more or a lot to desire within Uganda's agricultural sector. Now, according to this same report, when you look at the money that was borrowed so as to benefit those within the agricultural sector, up until December 2023, this report, which was done by a parliamentary committee, that is a budget committee on the minority report, indicated that close to 200 billion Ugandan shillings worth of borrowed funds for projects that were already sidelined to be worked upon in this financial year were never worked upon. So the bigger question is, where is the 200 billion Ugandan shillings if at all these projects were never worked upon? The report reviews utilization of different project loans in the agriculture sector. And this very report also notes that between 2018 and 2021, government borrowed a combined sum of $522 million US. Now that is approximately 1.97 trillion Ugandan shillings, but had by December 2023 only utilized 54.3% of that money. And that means out of the $522 million US, we only utilized 283.47 million US dollars, approximately 1.07 trillion out of the 1.97 trillion Ugandan shillings, and with at least 903.9 billion unutilized. So as when you look back at the past 2 years, that is from 2021 to 2022, 2022, 2023, 2023, 2024, or the past 3 years and the financial year budgets, you've looked at the idea that we've been focusing on human capital development, and then also looking at how we can raise household income in the country. And one of the key pillars of raising the household incomes is to ensure that we turn to commercial agriculture. Now, when we have these borrowed funds not being utilized enough, then that poses a question on what we want to achieve as a country in regards to commercial agriculture, because all these elements need to be put together to ensure that the farmers, the middlemen, and those in the agro-processing or the value addition chain also greatly benefit from the same. And of course, when you also look at some of these projects that are being employed within the agricultural sector, you also realize that credit facilities or extended credit facilities to some of the farmers are some of the projects that are sidelined. And well, some of the farmers are not benefiting from the same. Now that also leaves a very huge question on where is the 900 billion Ugandan shillings of the borrowed funds. But that aside, we shall wait to see what then will the government have to say on that particular situation. And as a country, that is not the right place we want to be. And just to remind you, we are only left with 2 days for the national budget to be read. And of course, the agriculture sector or commercial agriculture is still a very key priority for Uganda ahead of this year's financial year budget. Now, lastly, from our business update this morning, we look at the forex market to see how the Ugandan currency has been faring on the exchange against other foreign currencies, courtesy of the Bank of Uganda, and that is as of close of business yesterday. Now, the US dollar opening time was buying at 3,783.63 while selling at 3,793.63. By midday, it was buying at 3,774.96 shillings while selling at 3,784.96. And then closing time, the US dollar was buying at 3,771.29 shillings while selling at 3,809.04, slight change and a slight drop against the Ugandan shillings. Then the Great Britain pound was buying at 4,796.32 while selling at 4,813.71 shillings. The euro was buying at 4,055.64 shillings while selling at 4,066.39 shillings. The Kenyan shilling was buying at 29.12 shillings while selling at 29.19 shillings. Then the Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.44 shillings while selling at 1.44 shillings. And lastly, the South African rand was buying at 200.21 shillings while selling at 200.74 Ugandan shillings. So that's how you will find the Ugandan shilling and how you'll find the forex market this morning. Chantal Oliver Cannon is right here to take you through the traffic updates.
Good morning and thank you for staying with us. It's time for our traffic updates. Let's see how you can get to town if you are coming from a Nambole side. Now, there's a bit of holdups on your way as you are joining the Kampala-Jinja Highway, and holdups in there, slow movement. And if you are trying to connect to Chireka, you will be finding a little bit of traffic, but still on the same highway. After that, you're free to move. You'll find, as you're approaching Banda taxi stage, that's why you'll be finding slow movement of traffic. However, after that, you are safe to move until you are approaching Mogo. That is Mogo, and that is still on the Kampala-Jinja Highway. And also as you're approaching Nakawa, that is where you'll be finding a lot of traffic. There is the deep red zones that are indicating there is a lot of traffic. Now, this is also closing into the junction that has what you call the Spear Junction or the URA Junction. If you're trying to join the Nakawa-Jinja Road, there is a lot of traffic on there. Ntinda Road is mad with traffic for you who is trying to join the roundabout. But if you are exiting just after exiting the roundabout, you are safe to move. You'll only be finding a few holdups in the middle there as you are trying to make your way to Ntinda side. But as we proceed onto the Kampala-Jinja Highway, as you're approaching the Nakawa Business Park, that is where you'll be finding a few holdups and slow movement but nothing much for you to worry about. You will be finding lots of traffic, however, as you are approaching the Chadondo rugby grounds. That is where you'll be finding a lot of traffic as you're trying to make your way to town. Well, unfortunately, this morning, that is how far we could go with the traffic updates. Coming up is Good Morning Uganda agenda, but if you are using Ntinda Road, the traffic is not, in some places it's too much, in other places it's not. So you either choose to use the same route or you can find an alternative route that seems to be working pretty well for you. But Good Morning Uganda is coming up next, so stick around.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
A new dawn on Behind the Headlines with me, Timothy Nyangweso. Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala. We have conversations that have analysis, explanation, but not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth. Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Junko.
Yo.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Uganda wange, haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Junko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
107.3 Kampala, 96.9 Mbale, 95.7 Jinja, 98.6 Soroti. You are all covered.
UBC Butego. UBC Butego.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
1 in every 4 Ugandans die from non-communicable diseases. This is according to the World Health Organization. And it also says that only 15% of Ugandans engage in consistent physical activity on a daily. Where do you fall on that scale? I will ask one of my camera people here to tell me where he falls on that scale. And of course, I know someone will be asking, Olive, where do you fall on that scale? What is your BMI? But anyway, we are having this conversation regarding physical health and physical activity. Now, there will be an event by the ministry, coordinated by the Ministry of Health, and it will be held at the Mob Sports Grounds on the 16th of June, 2024. And it is called the National Physical Activity Day. Why is it important for us to have a day like this? Why are we commemorating a day like this? And what is the importance of physical activity? But also, what do we mean when we say non-communicable diseases? We have many diseases, but they are classified. And because of that, that's why we are having this conversation with Dr. Gerald Mutungi, who is the Assistant Commissioner in charge of non-communicable diseases at the Ministry of Health. Thank you so much for joining us, and good morning.
Good morning, thank you, and good morning, our viewers.
Well, to the viewers out there, this conversation, I believe, is one that strikes a chord because many Ugandans, according to the World Health Organization, are not engaging in physical activity. And when you're of a certain age, I think that should be worrying. It is said that after the age of 30, you really need to now start thinking seriously about your health. But I think as a doctor, you will tell us more on that. But first of all, before we go into physical activity and whatnot, what exactly do we mean by non-communicable diseases?
Thank you very much. Non-communicable diseases are diseases which are not easily transferred from one person to another. Mm-hmm. That's why they are not communicating.
Okay.
And I'm going to give examples.
Okay.
Diseases like diabetes, like hypertension, or we call it pressure, like sickle cell, like cancers. When you have them, you don't transfer them to another.
Yes.
So that's why we call them non-communicable diseases or non-infectious diseases. Unlike diseases like malaria, like HIV, because if you have malaria and the mosquito bites you and it bites me, I may get malaria.
Oh,
so
okay.
Now that becomes communicable. If you have HIV and we do funny things together, I will get HIV. It means you have communicated that.
Okay.
But if you have your hypertension, if you have your diabetes, whether we sleep together, whether we drink together, whether we interact, I will not get diabetes from you, I will not get the cancer from you, I will not get the pressure from you. So those are the diseases that we call non-communicable diseases.
Okay.
So we have mainly 4 groups which are very common. We have cardiovascular diseases, that is pressure and other heart and vessel diseases.
Yes.
Then we have the cancers, there are many cancers. Then we have diabetes. And they are what we call chronic respiratory diseases, like asthma and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Those are the 4 major ones globally. But here in Uganda and other African countries, we have sickle cell, but we also have hemophilia, we have those others. But the main non-communicable diseases are those. And the cardiovascular diseases, heart-related diseases, are the #1 killers in the world, but also here in Uganda. The reason is you get sudden death and then you start saying maybe they bewitched me or something.
He died in his sleep.
Yeah, in his sleep. Those are cardiovascular diseases, heart-related diseases.
Heart-related diseases. Now, since the diseases you're mentioning in layman's language, usually the diseases I hear being called lifestyle diseases sometimes. And since we are talking about physical health, physical activity, how do we get from non-communicable diseases and then physical activity? What is the relationship between the two?
Thank you very much. These diseases, as you've called them, that they are lifestyle. It means they have risk factors which are related to how we live.
Yes.
So these diseases are caused mainly by the way we live our lives. And being physically inactive is one of them. So being physically inactive is a risk factor for you to get heart diseases, for you to get diabetes, for you to get the cancers, for you to get chronic respiratory diseases. So it's a very important risk factor. There are other risk factors that I hopefully will have an opportunity to talk about. But that's what it means, that if you have an unhealthy lifestyle, including being physically inactive, then you are more likely to get these diseases than people who are physically active.
Okay.
Yes.
So when we speak about physical activity, and here I hear being sedentary, what ages are at risk if they are living a sedentary lifestyle?
Yeah, these diseases, the risk factors may be early and the diseases come later. So everybody is at risk if he's physically inactive, including children.
Including children.
So luckily children are physically active. God already put it in us that we should be physically active. It's when we become adults and we become lazy. But really everybody is at risk of getting these diseases. And please, even if you don't have these diseases, when you have these risk factors, when you become physically inactive in your 20s, 30s, expect to have diseases in your 40s, 50s.
Okay, so maybe before we get into the meat on the bone on physical activity, maybe let's look at the risk factors first. What are some of these factors or the things we do at a young age and even at an older age that makes it increasingly risky for us to have a healthy lifestyle?
Thank you very much. There are 4 or 5 main risk factors to these non-communicable diseases. And being physically inactive is one of the important ones, but not the only one. So we shall dwell into being physically active, but being physically inactive causes all those diseases I have mentioned. The heart diseases, the cancers, the diabetes, and chronic respiratory diseases. Then the other dangerous one is tobacco. We are lucky in Uganda, tobacco consumption is reducing, but tobacco also is a dangerous substance, whether you smoke it, whether you chew it, whether you use it in any form, whether it is shisha or anything, tobacco is dangerous, and it also puts you at risk of all these diseases, the heart diseases, the cancers, the diabetes, and all that. Those are 2. The third one is alcohol. And you know Ugandans like alcohol.
Yes.
I think we are number 1 in Africa. It's unfortunate. We shouldn't celebrate that we are number 1 in taking alcohol. Excessive consumption of alcohol has been proven to be a risk factor for all these non-communicable diseases, including some cancers.
Yes.
So Ugandans, we should reduce on taking alcohol. Then the 4th risk factor is unhealthy diets. And sometimes what you young people call good food or, you know.
Sumptuous meals.
Yeah, those chips, chicken, those fast foods, the sausages, all those processed foods are not healthy for our lives. We need to go back to our natural foods without much oil and with more of the vegetables and fresh fruits than the meats, the red meats, the what. We need to consider we do this and that. And I want to caution Ugandans, sometimes they deceive themselves that pork is a white meat, so it is healthy.
It's not?
It's not. It's one of the bad meats. And it's not good. And Ugandans are consuming a lot of pork, and that's why these diseases may be also on the increase. So those are the 4 major risk factors. I've mentioned physical inactivity, I've mentioned tobacco, excessive intake of alcohol, and unhealthy diets. But also now we have destroyed our environment, so environmental pollution is also contributing to these non-communicable diseases, especially chronic respiratory diseases and some cancers. So we are spoiling our environment by these fumes, the old cars, and cutting of trees and all that. It's also bringing some problems. So when we mention that these are diseases of lifestyle, it means the way we live our lives, the way we live our lives. We become physically active or not, what we eat and what we don't, the alcohol we take or we don't, and the tobacco.
Wow, interesting. So do you engage in any physical activity? And what is the essence of physical activity on your body and on your health? That's the conversation we are having today. So you can join the conversation through WhatsApp number 0709-602592, or you can send in your tweets through our X app, and the hashtag is UBCGMU. We need to hear your questions and your feedback. I'm having a conversation with a doctor right here, and he has already touched on so many important things regarding how we live our lives and the danger of non-communicable diseases. Now, these are diseases that you do not get from another person. These are diseases that you get due to the lifestyle that you live, how you feed, how much rest are you taking? Is it enough rest, or it is too much that it is now endangering your life? And here I mean you're not active at all. These days there is a saying, move your body. Try to move your body around. And by moving your body, we don't mean move here like 2-3 meters and you're done. Try to walk. Are you taking in maybe 10,000 steps a day? But I'm not the expert on this. I am with a doctor and he's answering your questions. So please send them through and he will be able to answer those. Now, let's get into the meat of the matter, physical activity. And here, when we speak about physical activity, some people will say, maybe I exercise once a week. Would you say, how much physical activity is enough for one's body?
Thank you very much. This will depend on different age groups, but generally, WHO guides us that we need 30 minutes of moderate physical activity per day. And that's at least for 5 days a week. If you can't manage 7 days, at least on 5 days in a week, you should have 30 minutes of moderate physical activity, like brisk walking, where your heartbeat increases. Otherwise, if you just walk romantically with your girlfriend in a garden, and you spend 30 minutes, and then you think you have done physical activity, no, that's not enough. You must do something that will increase your heart rate, so that the heart pumps blood to your extremities, to all your muscles, and gets all the toxins from there.
So it doesn't matter if I walked, let's say maybe 3 kilometers, but I am walking slowly, sluggishly.
It's better than nothing. Any physical activity is better than nothing. But really, you need to make sure that your heart rate increases and you breathe faster.
Okay.
That's when you know that you have done physical activity. Your heart rate increases and you breathe faster. So some people think sweating is very important. So they go in the sauna and they sweat and they think they have done physical activity. No.
Now that you mention sauna and steam baths, how important are they to someone's health? Are they really necessary, or it is a waste of time?
I can't say that it's a waste of time. Some people, it is relaxing. And sometimes it is socially important that you meet your friends and chat. It stops there.
Does it burn fats?
It doesn't.
The assumption is?
The assumption of burning fat is not true.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say it's useless, because it relaxes some people. They relax and forget some loans and some other issues and what.
Yes.
And also cater for their mental health. But it does not burn fat.
It doesn't.
What burns fat is physical activity.
Okay.
Is you running, jogging, playing football, making sure that you use your muscles to do their work, because the muscles were not supposed to be just there. They're supposed to work. And that's when you can burn the fat. Saunas don't burn fat. They can make you sweat because of the excess heat. Their only usefulness stops at the social interaction and relaxing you a bit, so that you forget some of your problems, but not burning fat at all. Okay,
so now with mental illnesses on the rise in the country, how important or how significant is physical activity to one's mental health?
Oh, maybe I didn't mention mental health being one of the non-communicable diseases. Yeah, it's one of the non-communicable diseases, because if you have mental health issues, you will not communicate them to me, you will not translate them to me. And the physical activity is one of the treatments. Actually, the theme of this year's National Day of Physical Activity is physical exercises, is medicine. And it treats mental health, it treats hypertension, it treats diabetes. There is a lot that physical activity can do that we don't know. Much of the medicines we are taking can be replaced by being physically active, including mental health issues. So instead of being there getting worried, thinking about many things, go to the gym or go to the sports ground and run around and play football with friends. Your mental health will be better. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting because so if someone is, let's still stick to mental health just a little bit. If someone is maybe going through depression or something that is depressing, maybe not the actual clinically depressed, they have not been diagnosed, but they are going through depressive moments and they decide to instead just stay at home, and they think that that will relax them instead of doing physical activity. Are they shooting themselves in the foot? Do they really need to have, at what point when I'm feeling depressed, do I have to go out there and be physically active?
When you have issues with your mental health, when you have issues with depression, it's not good to be alone in your room or what. There you are worsening the situation. It's better to be out with others, and okay, even being out with others without exercise is good, but if you are doing physical activity, if you are doing exercises, the causes of that mental health may even go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I would like for us to have a conversation regarding the benefits of physical activity on one's mind.
Very, very many. Physical activity is so important. When you are when you are running, when you are being physically active, it means your blood, your heart is pumping blood to all the muscles. Where it doesn't reach, it will reach, because that's why you even feel the heart is pumping much faster. And it removes some of the toxins that are causing some of those issues, even in our mental health, even our, all that. I don't want to go into I don't want to go into that science.
Okay.
But I tell you, physical activity is just like medicine, much better than medicine. Whether you have mental health issues, whether you have diabetes, whether you have cancer, whether you have what, it's actually, we are going to train our doctors, our health workers. When they are prescribing medication, they start with physical activity.
Physical activity.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are some of the misconceptions around physical activity that you have encountered in your profession?
The problem is people not appreciating the importance of physical activity. They may not have misconception as such, but they don't appreciate it. They don't value, they don't think it has a value in their health. So long as they can afford a sedentary lifestyle and they have money on their account and their pockets, they think we shouldn't bother them. But that is one. But also the other is thinking that if you are going to do physical activity, you must have money to go to the gym. No, you don't need money to go to the gym. His Excellency demonstrated during COVID that you don't need to go to the gym. You can do physical activity in your house. You can do physical activity in your compound. You can do, and it's important to do the physical activity that you enjoy, so that it's not like something forced on you. It's something that we enjoy.
True, because I was going to ask you what fun ways can people, engage in physical activity? Because for some, they feel it's gruesome to do it.
I think what is important is first to appreciate that physical activity is important for your health.
Yes.
And you must find something you enjoy that will keep you physically active. So if it's jumping a rope, that's fine. If it's playing football, that's fine. If it's dancing,
yes,
people go and dance and
so dance classes are important.
It's okay.
Okay.
If it is riding a bicycle, it's okay. You do something that you enjoy. so that it is not like a burden on you. So physical activity should be something that you enjoy. And we are going to have many examples of physical activity on our day, including netball, football, you know, many. You need to find something that you enjoy so that it is not a burden to you, but it is something you enjoy. If it is having a brisk walk with your friends, enjoy it. If it is having a run, enjoy it. If it is football, but you must be physically active. Especially, we have a problem with our people in urban centers. People in the villages are forced to be physically active because of the kind of work they do to bring food on the table. They have to go and dig or graze cows or whatever. That is good physical activity. But the challenge with people in the urban centers, those corporate people, the office people, who sit in the offices for a long time, and they go from the office, they go and sit and take some pork and some beers, and then they go home and sleep. Those are the challenges.
Lifestyle.
Yeah. So
it goes
appreciate
back to
that you have to be physically active to prevent diseases and treat diseases. Then find which physical activity you enjoy and do it.
Okay.
And do it at least 30 minutes a day. More is better, but at least 30 minutes a day for a minimum of 5 days in a week.
Well, I'm speaking to Dr. Gerald Mutunji, who is the Assistant Commissioner in charge of non-communicable diseases at the Ministry of Health. We are speaking physical activity. You need to get off that couch. You need to walk a bit, park that car and walk a bit. But he did say that you need to find a physical activity that you enjoy. So if you don't like going to the gym, but you like walking, you can brisk walk. And please, keynote, he said, you need to brisk walk so that you're breathing fast and your heart is beating. So walking sluggishly, romantically with your girlfriend, to borrow from his words, is not helping, though it's better than nothing, but you should do more. So that's where we are at. If you have any questions, if you're a beginner at physical activity, or if you've been doing it for some time and you're still having challenges, maybe there is something you're not doing right. So send in your questions. The doctor will be able to answer those. Now, since this is a problem that our entire society is facing, because you did mention that children are naturally supposed to be physically active, but today, especially in urban centers, we have more and more children that are becoming obese. And that still goes back to the lifestyles they have. But even those that are not obese, I have also realized something that is mushrooming in Ugandan schools, where because we are so focused on grades, children are in class pretty much all through the day. They do not have time to go and play like we used to, because we used to have break time. You go and have a snack, but you play football, the girls are playing netball, you're doing something. And then lunchtime, the same used to happen. But today, I'll give you an example. When I talk to my children and I ask them, do you play during those times? They're like, no, mommy, we get out, we have our meals, we go back to class. So how can communities, including schools and even homes, how can we work together to encourage physical activity?
Thank you very much for that question. And that challenge is there in urban schools. Some urban schools actually don't have even where to play from.
Thank you very much.
They are in one storied building, and that's the old school.
There is no space.
Yeah, that is not right, and it's dangerous. And no wonder these diseases are increasing even in children.
Yes.
That is the reason. So we are in discussion with our colleagues in the Ministry of Health. I think we recently did a policy on physical activity and guidelines. So schools to be licensed will have to have a space for physical activity.
That's very good.
If they don't own it, they should access one from the neighbor or something like that. So that is going not to happen. They are not going to renew your license unless you have access to a playground where children can do physical activity. But also, in the new curriculum, it emphasizes physical activity. All this is intended sort of the problems that we are facing about, concentrating on academics, on grades, and you forget about the lifestyle.
The lifestyle.
Yeah, we are working with the education sector. We are also going to regulate what snacks or food that are going to be found in the school canteens, because sometimes you find they are very unhealthy things again. That's why you find our children are obese, and there's no question that that obesity will lead to non-communicable diseases in the future. And some have already started having, hypertension, diabetes at 18 years, 20 years, which used to not happen.
That's really sad. Which age bracket usually experiences those illnesses?
We used to know 40 and above. That's when you are at risk of getting these diseases. But surprisingly, now we are getting them at a young age, and this is worrying. And that's why we are bringing all these efforts that we should stop, because you're not supposed to have hypertension before 40 years unless there are other reasons. Like if you have a kidney disease or whatever, you can have hypertension even at a younger age. But now we are getting those diseases at 30 because of our lifestyle. And we are calling upon our partners, the media inclusive, to really drum up this cause that we have to be physically active. Number one, physical activity, then diet, and alcohol and tobacco are really damaging our society.
Okay.
And you can't be productive, you can't make money, you can't, when you are not healthy.
Definitely.
Health is wealth.
And even when you have the money but you're not healthy, it means you're not going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Now, we have talked about the children that are struggling and are getting diabetes at the age of 18, which is really concerning. But there is also something else, Doctor, that I see among women between the ages of 25 now and even before 40 that are increasingly struggling with fibroids, cysts, and endometriosis. Does it have a bearing on lack of physical activity as well?
Very much so. Because I've told you that physical activity is medicine for all those. Of course, there are other risk factors to those conditions.
Yes.
Like fibroids, if you delay to get your first child, that is a risk factor. If you don't breastfeed, that's a risk factor. So there are other risk factors.
Yes.
But
there are women as young as 25.
25 getting fibroids, that is unusual.
Yes.
But it can happen.
It happens.
When we used to study medicine, they used to say diseases don't read textbooks. So you don't say that if you are not yet 30, you cannot get fibroids. But there must be a reason, either family history of fibroids, so that it's genetic or what.
Okay.
Otherwise, you shouldn't have fibroids at 25, because 25 you still have hormones and what. But it can happen.
Yes.
But whether it can happen or not, if you are physically active, the chances of happening reduce. If you are living healthy lifestyle, sometimes chances of those things happening reduce considerably.
Okay, now speaking about non-communicable diseases, how important is it for us to have early diagnosis and treatment when we get some of these diseases like hypertension and the others that you mentioned?
Thank you for that question. Non-communicable diseases, unlike the communicable diseases, don't have early symptoms. When you get malaria, you will get fever, you get chills, you get headache. You may not sleep without taking medication.
Yes.
Unfortunately, non-communicable diseases don't have those early symptoms. You will get symptoms when it is late, when it's already complications. So that means you will not know. That's why we encourage screening, so that you know early, and once you know early, they can be treated. If you get the diagnosis of pressure, in Uganda you say pressure, but we call it hypertension.
Yes.
It can be treated without even drugs if you get it early, if the diagnosis is made early. But remember, it has no symptoms.
Yes.
But because you have gone and checked and they have found that you have high blood pressure, it can be treated without drugs. Just increase your physical activity, reduce on the fats and whatever, eat healthy, your hypertension will go. The same with diabetes. If you check and they find your blood sugar is getting high, what we call pre-diabetes, remember you don't have symptoms at that time. But if you check and they get it early, and they tell you increase your physical activity, reduce on the weight, eat healthy, it will go. But if you don't, and you wait until you get the symptoms, sometimes it may be late even for drug treatment.
Okay.
So that's the importance of early diagnosis in non-communicable disease, unlike in the communicable diseases.
Yes.
That the diseases can be cured, including, by the way, cancers. If the cancers are diagnosed in first stage, they are curable. But if they are diagnosed in third stage, they are not curable.
They're just managed.
We call it palliative care.
Yes.
So that is the importance of screening, even when you have no symptoms. So
that's why we are advised to screen for cervical cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, and the like.
Yes, and these are on the increase. Breast cancer is on the increase, including in the young girls that we used to not see breast cancer.
That's very true.
Cervical cancer. And surprisingly, we have screening programs in all our health facilities, and people don't go.
Is screening in government facilities free, or
all services in government facilities are free?
All services in government facilities are free.
So screening for cervical cancer is free. Screening for breast cancer is free in our government health facilities.
Okay. Yeah. So you heard it from Dr. Gerald Mutunji. He says that screening for any disease, let it be cervical cancer, let it be breast cancer, prostate cancer, whatever cancer, you should go and screen because it is free in all government facilities. Well, doctor, I have a few questions coming in for you. And this one says, thank you for the show. It's very educative. My question is, what causes anemia when you are physically active? And what causes fibroids when you have already had children?
Thank you very much for those questions. Anemia is having less blood than you require.
Yes.
Those who don't know the word, the term anemia. And what causes it is either what you eat, or maybe something is consuming your blood, or you are bleeding. For example, ladies, if they go in their periods and they have heavy flow, they can have anemia because they are losing a lot of blood. But also, if you are not eating the right foods, if you are not eating greens and what, you may not be manufacturing enough blood. But also some diseases consume your blood. If you have worms, they are there also consuming your blood.
Like if you've not dewormed, okay.
They can consume your blood. But also some diseases like sickle cell, the red blood cells which carry oxygen to the body, they don't last as long as the normal ones. They die faster. So it means you are likely to have anemia. So if you have anemia, please go and let it be investigated so that we know what causes it.
So it's not the physical activities that is causing anemia.
It's not the physical activity that is causing it, no. It is either you have hookworms, or you are bleeding. You can even have ulcers that are bleeding and you are not aware. There must be something that's causing it, but it's not related to physical activity. Physical activity does not cause anemia. Anemia has many other causes that I have mentioned, but not physical activity.
Okay, now in as much as we are talking about physical activity, she had another question regarding fibroids after you had children.
Again, you need to be investigated because some families have genetic predisposition for having fibroids. So it's not true that if you have children, you will not have fibroids. Yes, fibroids are common to those who have no children, but diseases don't read textbooks. There must be a reason. So you can be investigated, evaluated to find out why you are having fibroids even when you have had children.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, physical activity is medicine, and that is the theme for this year's National Physical Activity Day that is taking place on the 16th of June 2024 at Mob Sports Ground. So make sure to be there because you will learn a lot. But still, Dr. Mtunji is still here with us to answer some of your questions. So send your questions through 0709 602 592. And Benson Musisi from Kawala asks, is sex part of physical activity?
That's an interesting one. Yes, it is, but it is inadequate.
Inadequate.
Yes, so don't count it in the 30 minutes of physical activity that we have mentioned. Let it be an additional.
Okay.
Because people think that they can engage in sex and then they are done with physical activity. No, it's definitely a good exercise, but inadequate.
Inadequate.
Yeah.
This conversation is very interesting because that question excited some people here. And someone is saying African countries do not consider physical activities as a priority in their life, like the Asians particularly, the Chinese and the Japanese. They have made this as part of their daily routine before attending jobs. What is it that the Chinese, basically the Asians, are doing that probably we need to emulate?
I think they go to understand the importance of physical activity before us, and that's why they live longer even.
Okay.
Actually, that's a testimony. If you are physically active, you are likely to live longer. So we need to learn from them, but also their infrastructure supports physical activity. I know here in our cities sometimes we have challenges. If you want to walk, for example, you may not have where to walk from.
There have actually been accidents, yes.
Yeah, the borders will knock you and all that. But that is being sorted slowly. We shall reach there. As you can see, the new roads now have some walkways. Sometimes the borders even go there on our walkways. But we shall handle that. But that statement of Asians being more physically active than us is a testimony that physical activity is medicine because they are living much longer. Japanese live longer. For them, living to 100 years is normal. For us here,
for them,
if somebody reaches 80, he has lived for long.
Their life expectancy is around 80, whereas ours is around 63, 60. Yes. Now, still speaking about Asians, let's have a look at herbal medicine. From a doctor like you, do you agree that herbal medicine is actually important? Does it even treat illnesses? What are the dangers and the benefits of using herbs?
Thank you very much. Herbal medicine or herbs have active ingredients that treat diseases. That's even how we get our modern medicines. The tablets, the injections, all come from herbs. So definitely herbs have active ingredients. So some herbs work. The only challenge with our herbal medicine is to know the effective dose and the dangerous dose. Or the underdose. How do you know the underdose, the effective dose, and overdose? Because these medicines are studied. That's why you see some of our medicines, they say, take once a day. Because they know the medicine will be in your blood for 24 hours. Others, they say, take twice a day, or take ever after 8 hours, or take ever after 6 hours. Because they have studied the active ingredients, how long will they stay in the blood to fight the bacteria, the invading bacteria or virus or whatever. Now the challenge with our herbal medicine, we don't know that. We don't know how much will be necessary to kill the bacteria, the germs, or how much will be overdose to affect our internal organs. And quite often we take overdose and we affect our internal organs. For us who have been in clinical medicine, it's common to find people have come with spoiled kidneys, livers because of herbs. So that is the only challenge. Otherwise, I'm not saying that herbs don't work. The active ingredients in herbs, even in our medicines, are from herbs. But we don't know the overdose. Because they will estimate, they give you a jerrycan and they say, take 2 tampacos a day or what. Another one will say, take 1. And quite often you are taking more than you need. And therefore it will damage your internal organs. And sometimes the toxins or the bad part of the herbs is not extracted from there. So you are taking everything. And some of those go direct to damage our internal organs, particularly the kidney and the liver, which are very important organs in our body. So for me, I discourage herbs, and that's the reason I discourage herbs. It's not that they don't work or they don't have active ingredients, but that's the reason I discourage herbs, because they go and affect our internal organs And you may be cured of whatever you are sick of, but you have killed your kidneys or your liver.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Phillips from Karamoja says physical activity is very important for the general body health functioning. The problem now is that physical education, which was an agent of installing physical therapy to people, is being watered down in schools. And he goes on to say, no teaching of PE these days. Some people think doing physical activity makes them thin or emaciated. They think having a belly is pride, and yet it is dangerous. There is need to create in the community playgrounds for games, and not necessarily only in schools, but in the community. And he ends by saying this will help improve general health being. We walk a lot. Oh, so I think it means the people in Karamoja walk a lot, and this is healthy because you already mentioned it.
Yeah, that's a supplement, and thank you very much. But I see time is going with, we have not talked much about the day.
Okay, we are going to handle that day. Maybe just your comment on what he was saying, and then we engage.
No, I appreciate him. He seems to understand the message. And yes, Ugandans think that when you have a fat belly, you are rich.
You've made it in life.
They can even give you fancy names, Uncle, Hajj, even when you have never gone to Mecca. So we need to change that mindset.
Okay.
Being obese is not healthy. It's a risk to getting non-communicable diseases. There are people who are genetically bigger than others. So long as you are active and live a healthy lifestyle, you shouldn't get worried. But again, it shouldn't be a reason why you are expanding. So for us in the family, we are big.
We are like this.
Yes, but if you are very active and you are living a healthy lifestyle, if you have a genetic predisposition of being bigger than others, that shouldn't cause you a mental breakdown.
All right.
Okay, yeah.
So, Doctor, tell us more about the National Physical Activity Day.
So the National Physical Activity Day was launched actually by His Excellency the President in 2018 as a wake-up call to Ugandans to mind about their health, to be physically active as one way of preventing non-communicable diseases, but also as an opportunity to remind Ugandans of other lifestyle changes that we need to adopt to prevent non-communicable diseases. So it was launched in Kororo. It's a day of fun, but also of learning, and also of getting free health services. So now, this is our fourth day. We were interrupted, I think, for 2 years by COVID, but we've been having that day every year around June or July. And this time, we shall have it at Mob's Playground on 16th of this month. And it's a day when all the experts will be there to explain about physical activity, but also all doctors to screen and manage non-communicable diseases will be there. So we shall have fun, but also have services. Uganda Cancer Institute is going to be there with all their services. Uganda Heart Institute will be there. Children's Hospital will be there, and other partners. So if you don't know your blood pressure, you will know it. If you don't know your blood sugar, you will know it. If you don't know that you have sickle cell or not, you will know it.
You will know it.
Free of charge. Free? It's free of charge. Entrance is free. All those services are free. And also education. We shall educate the public about the lifestyle changes. Experts in nutrition will be there. Experts in heart diseases will be there. Experts in cancers will be there to explain how can you prevent those diseases, but also how can we diagnose them early and have effective treatment. Non-communicable diseases, once diagnosed early, can be managed.
Okay.
Once complications set in, it's very difficult.
Then
so
you have a problem on your
let's take this as an opportunity to come, to have fun, bring your friends, come as a family, come and have fun. Ask questions about health, learn from experts, but also get the free services that you rarely get elsewhere.
Well, get the free services that you rarely get from elsewhere. This will be happening on 16th of June 2024 at the Mobs Playgrounds. Make sure to be there so that you know where you're standing as far as your health is concerned. Well, I've been having a conversation regarding physical activity and the National Physical Activity Day with Dr. Gerald Mutunji, the Assistant Commissioner in charge of non-communicable diseases at the Ministry of Health. This has been Good Morning Uganda Agenda. Ruben Mpima is coming up next with Good Morning Uganda sports updates. Stick around.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Minutes, Travis Mutiaba had the entire crowd in the Nelson Mandela National Stadium standing up, singing the national anthem. And what an evening it was yesterday in Nambole. If I'm to remember, such a huge crowd for the Uganda Cranes. I think before the closure in 2019, that is when we were having such crowds. Of course, at the start of the game, we didn't have so many Ugandans packed in the stadium. But you get to realize that that wasn't the result we hoped for. But at the end of the day, we are still proud of the Uganda Cranes for their performance yesterday. I'm Joram Paul Sonko in for Ruben Mpima Chibirango, who is not in here. Of course, following that loss of the Uganda Cranes, he's still trying to regain his composure he was there in full arms to support the Uganda Cranes, and we hope to have him back after that particular result of the Uganda Cranes up against the Desert Foxes of Algeria. Well, and today our main concern is going to look into Group G, where Uganda Cranes is. In the same group where we have Botswana, Mozambique, we also have Guinea in that same group, and then Algeria plus Uganda. So when you look at this same group, a group of 6, 10 matches are to be played. So far we've played 4. The next matches that will be played in this same group will come in March for the World Cup qualifiers. But before we even get into how the qualification is going to work, just to remind you, before the game happened yesterday, many Ugandans turned up for this game. Speaking of the Ugandans who turned up, the Uganda Railways was also a pivotal driver for the number of fans that made it to the Nelson Mandela National Stadium. As you can see on your screen, that was what was happening at the railway station in Kampala. 2,000 Ugandan shillings for those who are heading to Nambole. So it was a trip from Kampala to Nambole, directly at the stage in Nambole. That is at the Eastern Gate. Because once you get out of the train, the first gate you look at is the Eastern Gate. And that is exactly where the train was actually heading. And many Ugandans use the train to and fro to get to Nambole. There are also those who bought their tickets as well. And you can easily see many Ugandans standing up. One may wonder this kind of turn up, because it was even a Monday. My worry as a spectator who attended the game against Botswana on Friday evening was that maybe we may not have the exact numbers. But surprisingly, or fortunately, we had a fully packed Nelson Mandela National Stadium led by the First Lady, Mama Janet Museveni, plus the Right Honourable Deputy Speaker to Parliament, that is Thomas Tayebwa, who was also part of that. And for the Uganda Railways, this was also a turning point for Ugandan football. And how I wish that when our league football returns, this is the same response we can receive, especially when we have games in the Nelson Mandela National Stadium that are also likely to be happening in the Uganda Premier League, even with the renovated Nachivubo, that is the World War II Memorial Stadium. If we can also turn up in huge numbers to support football, it was a spectacle to watch. It was so beautiful to watch Ugandans go in there to fully support their own. And when you also look at the individual displays of players, Elio Capradosi, who has now become a fan favorite, the Italian Ugandan, the defender clad in shirt 13. Then you also look at some huge performance coming in from Travis Mutiaba, who scored in the 11th minute for the Uganda Cranes. There were some good performances. Rogers Mato, he had some huge chances in the first half. Stephen Mukwala, Madwese. You know, you can name some of the players in the Uganda Cranes that really had a very good game as well. The likes of Semaganda. Kenneth Semakula also looked a bit shaky in the second half, but he had a decent first half, if I'm to put it in that way. But well, of course, again, kudos to the boys. But however, this puts the group into an interesting kind of situation. Why? When you look at these World Cup qualifiers, by the way, when the World Cup qualifiers started off in November last year, this particular run of the qualifiers will see 9 teams qualify directly to the World Cup 2026. How is this going to be done? We have 9 groups of qualifications on the African continent. Now, 9 of these groups have teams. There's only one team. There's only one group that has 5 members. But when you look at all these 9 groups, we will only qualify a team each in every group. So that means Uganda has to make sure that we top the group. Now, currently, Group G is led by Algeria. And Algeria successfully won their game against Uganda yesterday. They have 3 wins out of 4 matches played with 1 loss. Now, on top of that, you have Mozambique, which is coming in second place with 4 games played and 9 points. Now, Mozambique went on to win away against Guinea. Now, the same Guinea happened to win against Algeria. So when you look at this, this group is still pretty much interesting because we still have lots of games to play, but we have tricky away games. We have an away game away to Algeria. We will have to visit Guinea and also host Guinea. We shall also have to visit Botswana. We have to play against Mozambique. We have to play against Mozambique as well. And, we are putting ourselves in a situation where one would say, fingers crossed. We have to make sure that we win all the games. Now, if I'm taking you back to the other matches within the same group. Now, Guinea went away to Somalia. No, rather, Mozambique went away to Guinea and walked away victorious 1-0. That goal was scored in the 93rd minute. In the minutes of added time, that is when Guinea managed to break the dreadlock and win against, that is how Mozambique managed to win against Guinea. So Mozambique now goes to second place with 9 points, only short of goal difference with 1. Then you look at Somalia and Botswana, another interesting game because now Botswana and Uganda both have the same points with Guinea. And Botswana went away to Somalia, defeating Somalia by 3-1. And you can easily see what a scoreline for Botswana, who just lost away to Uganda just on Friday. So when we happen to play in next in March, Botswana will be taking on Algeria. And at times you try to think of it in this way that for Uganda, it's going to give us a very huge advantage if we happen to win all the games. Now, when it comes to the qualifications, how is the qualifications going to be? The first teams to top the group, as it stands now, Algeria have qualified, just as of now. But that is not the case because you have 10 games to play. So every team that tops its group will definitely qualify directly. Then, what will happen afterwards, on the African continent, they will go on to choose 4 teams out of the 9 groups, the best performers or the best second place teams. 4 of those teams will then go on to play a semi-final. It will be a one-off semi-final of the 4 teams. Now, these 4 teams will meet, play a semi-final, then qualify to the final. And after that final, we shall then have 1 team that will go and play a continental qualifier. Now, if I'm to take you back, after the 9 teams have fully qualified, we shall be left with 4 teams that have performed well in each group. Now, those will be like the best losers or the best second place teams. Now, those 4 best second place teams will then play each other, and then we have 2 of those that will go into a final. Now, once they go into an African kind of final, we shall have 1 team that will then represent us on the African